Welcome to the Attention Now podcast, where we talk to successful business people to provide quality content. Today on the show, we have the co-founder of Loop Media and also a U.S. Marine, Shawn Driscoll. Shawn, welcome to the show. How's your day going today?
Thanks, Dave. Going pretty well. I'm coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky. So it's a prettier time now than it was earlier, but it's a beautiful day outside. So thanks for having me, Dave. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you on here. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about since we do have successful business people on here. I want to talk to you a little bit about your current Loop Media company, what you guys
Sure.
currently do, and if you could tell us a little bit about that, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. So I co-founded a company called Loop Media. It was an idea that I had. I come from the music world, the music business. My father's an artist, kind of been around all different types of music and media pretty much my whole life. I was out in California 2011 and 12 and was involved in a recording studio, which is now called the Evergreen Stage. When we had it, it was called Legends. It's a very famous studio. Barbra Streisand owned it at one point, and the largest independent scoring stage in LA, I believe. The Grammy Association owns it currently today. You can find it called the Evergreen Stage. You can look that up. You can find it on Google. But long story short, we were doing a duet album with Dionne Warwick. My dad was involved in that on that album. So was Billy Ray Cyrus, and
Oh, wow.
a friend of ours wanted to do a remake of Achy Breaky Heart. And long story short, we did the song, we made the music video, and we broke the 24-hour YouTube record at the time with this music video because it was Larry King. We put Larry King on it. It was just kind of more of a joke of a music video, but it kind of opened my eyes up to the music video medium. And so I began to strategize and formulated a plan to start a company where we could distribute music video. That's where we kind of started in the beginning to businesses. And from there, it's kind of grown into all forms of content. But we basically were a free streaming service into businesses that gives you an interesting subset because it gives you hardware content as well as a SaaS product to display your own signage in your business. And so done quite well. We're still growing and building, but we uplisted to the New York Stock Exchange last February. And so it's been a little bit of a rocket ride, not without its valleys and its mountaintops, like every other entrepreneur that has a business. But I'm excited about it. Been growing it for several years, and so that's the quick, short story of Loop Media.
Awesome. Thanks, Shawn. And I'm familiar a little bit with your product. I was able to place some of your Loop devices. They kind of look like a little Roku device that the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they look like a little. I wonder if I have one here in my
if you
office.
have one, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So this is kind of what it looks like here. This is a pretty much just an Android device, and on
Okay.
this device, you're able to hook this up to your Wi-Fi at HDMI if you have a business, and then you can control the content. So if it's music video playlists, or it's drone footage, or it's we have a digital out-of-home TikTok channel. We'll see where TikTok ends up tomorrow with the House of Representatives voting on that. But anyway, but yeah, so it's like a Netflix for businesses, but it's short form content. And then you're able to control the content in your business. So it's a pretty unique device.
And how many music videos are on there, Shawn?
Oh wow. So Loop owns the largest independent music video library in the world, right? So we have licensed all of Sony's, Universal, and Warner's products. There's probably over maybe close to 125,000 music. Don't quote me on that. 125,000 music videos.
Okay.
Everything from Bob Dylan to Michael Jackson to whoever's on there. So
So it's a great way for business to be able to play music, have additional content, show some of their digital signage as well, be able to promote their
yes.
business, I would imagine, right? And how much does that cost the business?
So interestingly enough, it's a free service. We supply the hardware, software, content for free to the business, and then we advertise on that platform with national advertising. Now, I'm working on right now how to launch a local advertising product, which if you have a Loop player and you have businesses that would like to advertise in your business locally, we're about to launch that and offer that too. So we're in the beta stages of that now, but I'm pretty excited about that opportunity.
Perfect, perfect. And for people to be able to just sign up, I'm going to try to get a affiliate link set up here for myself, and they could also go to, is it looptv.com? Is that correct?
Loop.tv.
Loop.tv. Okay.
Loop.tv. So yeah, so they can check out the product. They want to get involved on the distribution side, they can reach out to you, and you can, of course, guide them to the right place.
All right, sounds great. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about mindset, right? How long have you had the Loop Media company now?
So it's been, wow, I'm dating myself. It's been almost a decade, almost 10 years now.
Wow, time flies by when we're getting younger. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, right. So,
Uh,
you know,
so
it's interesting, you know, it's one of those things, and I'll kind of go back to the mindset comment for a minute, you know, um, in today's world, there are a lot of, especially inside of social media, there's a lot of motivational things that kind of talk about, you know, how to be successful, how to kind of building you up on how to follow your dreams and chase your dreams. And some of those things I identify with, and some of them I don't.
you're freezing up a little, Shawn.
I
Oh, there
remember
you go.
when I was living in North Hollywood, and I, you know, through a course of events, you know, the opportunity with the studio was kind of coming to an end, and it was moving on to other hands. And I started to think to myself, okay, now what am I going to do? And I began to kind of culminate, you know, kind of all the ideas and all the things that, you know, I had thought about. And I began to build the idea of a loop in my head around the concept of the music video and how I knew that was a medium that was very valuable in the advertising world. Because, like, if you go to YouTube today, the Vivo channels across YouTube are the most lucrative on that platform. And it's because when you advertise around a music video, like an Adele music video or like whatever music videos out there, it generates a lot of views, right? So advertisers want to be around that. Same thing rings true when you're advertising out of home, which we call that DOOH, or digital out of home. So, but I kind of go back, and I remember I'm in my brother's guest house, and I have a whiteboard, and I was drawing out my idea. And at this time, there's a lot of recording going on. We had a compound in North Hollywood where a lot of musicians would come in and record. And, you know, they would all come by, and they'd all want to know what was on my whiteboard. And so I would working on my pitch, I was pitching my idea to all these people coming through. And it's interesting when I look back on it, some of them were really, really kind of blown away with the concept, because it wasn't, you know, just kind of the run of the mill business. It was pretty unique. You know, some people were very encouraging and supportive. And then some people were like, well, that's a big vision. I hope that works out for you. And I remember that, saying to myself, well, I hope it works out for me too, but I'm not going to stop until it does. Because I knew that the idea that I had was solid. And I knew that with enough hard work and enough vision and enough drive, you know, you can pretty much accomplish anything. But Loop was started with a pitch deck and an idea, you know, with no money, and just kind of, you know, grinding on it day in and day out, building block by block. And here we are today.
And did you get that mindset from your family, or was that part of the Marine Corps? What was the combination?
That's a good question. You know, my dad, I think I attribute a lot of my success to my father.
Okay.
He's quite a successful guy. Um, he's recorded a lot of music. Some consider him one of the best trumpet players in the world. But, you know, even today at 76, you know, he still practices his horn a couple hours a day.
Oh, wow.
He flies his own airplane. He has about 17,000 hours. And I've seen him over the years, you know, with an iron will to just accomplish whatever he sets his mind to accomplish. So I attribute some of that success to my genes and to my father's upbringing, and then some of it to the Marine Corps. You know, I remember, you know, hitting Paris Island at 18 years old and thinking to myself, what in the world have I done? And I remember it was just a completely foreign experience to me, but one that I garnered a lot of discipline, a lot of understanding how teams work, um, just all of those things that we both have learned in the Marine Corps. And it's just It did a lot of good for me as a young kid, kind of learning how to become a man. So I definitely attributed my success to several of those things for sure.
That's great. A good combination. But yeah, I think something that we learned is right, adapt and overcome, right, and never quit. It's something that we learned. And
Yep.
I think a lot of veterans getting out of the service nowadays should definitely explore opening their own business. It's a very fruitful. Make sure you find the right model. I had another podcast last week, and make sure it's your passion. I think that's something that you loved as well. That music was your passion, so you followed that. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much what's interesting is music and business have kind of always been my passion. I was lucky enough to be able to take both of those things and combine them together. Now, I will say I thought that I would have been more involved in the music side of it, but really this was about distributing and getting music out more so than kind of being involved in the making of it, right? It's a different piece of it, but exactly right. Taking the business world and the music world and kind of combining those together and kind of building a kind of pretty much a pioneering new medium for streaming business.
Right. And what would you recommend for someone that is getting out of the service? It's like, you know what, I don't know what my passion is. I don't know a lot of successful people. How do I get around these people? How can I network with these people?
I think the first step is that you got to learn how to become a people person, right? There's a lot of people that, want to get into it, but they're kind of abrasive. They don't have the basic skill set of how do I walk into a room full of people and introduce myself and build relationships. I have a 21-year-old son. His name is Lucas, and he went to college for a little while, but really didn't feel like college was his thing. And so I said, look, if you don't want to go to college, I understand that. I said, but understand this, you are going to go to the Driscoll University, and I
Nice.
am going to instill into you things that I have found to be the most valuable attributes and skill sets as I've kind of, worked my way into the business world. And one of the most important lessons I began to teach him is the power of your network. And you only have as far of a reach as your network has. And so if you learn how to invest in your network, how to support it, how to nurture it and grow it, it serves you well, probably more so than if you had a lot of money in the bank. And I say that because I utilize my network in building Loop and networked my way and got to the right people that allowed me to raise several $1 million for my company. But, going back to your question, I think the first step is that, you got to learn to kind of, get out of your comfort zone and be willing to approach that businessman. Or if you have an idea about something, or somebody that's in business that maybe you want to get involved in, you know, get on that team, right? Learn about that business, right? Because a lot of times people will jump in with both feet and they don't really have the knowledge base to be able to support their dream, right? So, learn how to say hello and talk to people, right? If you want to build a certain kind of a business, jump on that team. Try to get on a team that's doing the thing that you want to do, right? Those are a couple of the things that I think are valuable, um, that I would do, or I would tell somebody if I was younger, I would try to work on for sure.
Yeah, I was just having a conversation with my son Josh. I just went to go visit him this last weekend. He's a third year at Iowa, University of Iowa. It's like, you know what, your network is a huge value. And he goes, you know what, Dad, I'm part of the fraternity, and I already got some opportunities coming up from that. So always do
Mhm.
network. I think doing a deep dive on whatever industry you want to go in, learn as much as possible. And I think, like you mentioned, cultivate your people skills, right? Read the right books, listen to the right information, right? If you want to be better than anybody else, it's just like working out. It's like you have to apply it daily, daily, daily. So I think that's
There are a couple of, most people know this because it's such an ancient book, but such a great one. But How to Win Friends and Influence People
yeah, I love that one.
book, right? Only because it teaches you that skill set about how to win friends and influence people, right? And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to have that skill set to be able to communicate, to be able to, share your vision, right? It's a great thing. And I have a friend of mine who is a musician, producer, artist. He built, his name is Benjamin Romans. He built, was the producer and founder of a immersive theater, rock pop theater in LA called Cages. And through COVID, it kind of fell apart. And it was a thing that, he began to, kind of confide in me. We talked a lot about, what his next move is. And one of the things that I remember listening to, which is a little bit unorthodox, which I got on Audible, and I downloaded Curtis Jackson's, AKA 50 Cent's book called Hustle Harder. And it's kind of the story of his life. And he kind of goes through all the different attributes of things that lessons that he learned kind of growing up from his perspective and into the successes that he had and into where he sits today. And it impacted me greatly because as I listened to it, some of the same things that he went through and he was describing, I went through. And if I would have had the knowledge in this book that he communicated, man, I would have made a lot fewer mistakes. So
I love that. Yeah, I mean, if you could learn from other people's mistakes
uh,
and not have to go through it yourself,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I think that's a huge home run there. Just read as much as possible and remember that as we mentioned when this started, there's going to be always peaks and valleys of stuff going on, right? And if you see other people that have gone through it, that you're going to go through it, no matter what, you can't get out of it. It's life, right? It's going to
yeah,
happen to you. And
yeah,
if you have that attitude, that's like, you know what, we'll make it better, and it's going to move on. I think that's a big plus. So I love that.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to make sure I listen to that. So
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, download a couple books, How to Influ Friends and Influence People, and then Hustle Harder by 50 Cent, aka Curtis Jackson, or that's the other way around. But yeah,
I'm,
great book.
I'm gonna listen to Hustle Harder this week. So thank you. I'm always
Text me
learning
when you do. Let
myself,
me know
right?
how you like it. I think it'll impact you for sure.
Perfect, perfect. And I just want to circle back to the loop player for a second.
Okay.
So if a customer wants to order it, they can order it online. They'll receive it. They install the player. Uh, this could actually replace some of the content that they're using, correct? And then they can start using it for digital advertising to advertise their business. This in a sense could actually save them money too from if they have a cable bill or a dish bill, correct?
Yeah, right. So, a lot of times we use it as a second screen strategy, right? Because we don't have like ESPN where you can have sports on this, whatever kind of environment that you are building for your business, right? So, a lot of times that people will understand that, look, I've got DirecTV, but ESPN gets old, right? So if I have another screen that I can put my own signage on, which is if that's a special or that's some kind of messaging that you want to share, we let you put your logo on it. And so then you can, play all kinds of content. And if you have music, right, if you're paying for like Spotify Business or any of the business music services, Loop provides that music to you for free. So when the music videos play, you have the audio feed that you can, put into your speakers, right, through your amplifier. And then we pay all the licensing costs. So it's a no cost, legitimately no cost service to you.
And it's
It's
going to
something.
be what's the criteria for a business to be able to sign up that would qualify for the player?
So pretty much any business that has a forward facing or has a retail location, a bar, restaurant, doctor's office, hotels, um, apartment complexes, car washes, nail salons, barber shops. I mean, pretty much anything that has a screen in it that people visit in a business sense, you have access to the Loop system.
Yeah, I think that's amazing with everybody cutting the cord at home. It's like cut the cord at the business and be able to use this instead. So I think that's awesome, Sean.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right, all right, perfect. Anything else you'd like to cover?
I don't think so, Dave. I think this has
Okay,
been a good thing.
perfect.
Happy to happy to be here, happy to be able to share a little bit.
One last thing I always ask everyone at the end is, what would you like people listening to today to know or remember about you or your business?
About me or my business. Well, if I combine both of those things together, if it's about me and my business, I think back to the grind, right? If you're out there and you're an entrepreneur or whatever it is that you're doing, just remember that if you stay consistent and you keep going and you don't listen to those thoughts that tell you to quit or that you want to do something easier, eventually it will pay off and the reward will be there.
Yeah, I'm sure someone's going to listen to this. It's like, man, should I keep going and keep going? Keep going.
Keep
It's going to
going.
happen. So
Keep
appreciate
going.
it. All right, Shawn. Well, great to see you. Thank you much for your time. We'll get this out by next week, and always great talking to you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Have a great
Have a
day.
good day. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.